Hey everyone, welcome back to Crypto Cash. Thank you so much for joining me here. Hope you're having a fantastic day. Crypto market's on fire. This is fantastic. I'd love to see this. Absolutely super happy about it. Bitcoin at 95.5. Looks like it wants to run towards 97. We're going to see here in a little bit if that's still a possibility with this extra amount of volume, a lot of money flowing into Bitcoin. What else is going to go, what else could go right? This is awesome though. So let's take a quick look at the back end liquidation data and just kind of give you some perspective here as well as to, what my thoughts are. And these are just perfectly logical thoughts based on local supports and resistances haven't been tested yet. We do have support at 88.5 down as low as about 90,000. So I do still think that range will be retested. Keep in mind today's a Friday. I do need to kind of just, not necessarily pump the brakes for you, but just kind of be that voice of reason and let you know statistically every time we have a green Friday, we have a red Saturday or Sunday. It's just, we've seen like 90% of the weekends so far this year have been red. So not trying to concern you or scare you at all, but the bill's going to come due in the relative near future, and it would make sense that this weekend is the weekend to do it. I really hope I'm wrong and the price keeps going higher, but that's just kind of some food for thought so you can make some sound financial decisions. I'm waiting on taking longs, honestly. I've added to my spot bag pretty heavy in the last couple of weeks, so not getting crazy with any leverage right now. We took some nice profits on a Solana and XRP long here recently, but honestly, not getting too crazy. Hindsight's 2020. Totally wish I had now, but the safe and the more conservative thing to do is to wait this out and make sure you're not FOMOing in too hard. Spot bag is a different story. I recommend adding to your spot at any point in time if you are interested in doing that. But when it comes to Bitcoin, let's take a look at liquidation data here. We can see 95.8 to 97,000 is a pretty significant shelf there. 97,000 is that macro point of control, so it would make sense that we have a lot of leverage upwards of that range because people feel pretty safe, having liquidation events in that area or stop losses there. Okay, so that's a good sign for the most part for resistance coming up here soon. As I've mentioned previously, that 95 to 97K range, depending on the chart that you're looking at, will have the most amount of volume accumulated there in the recent range, ever since we've been, 80,000 plus. So all that being said, we can see some macro liquidation, of course, all the way up towards 102. It's not super substantial, but it is still there. So wouldn't be surprised we see a continuation higher. This is something that's extremely outrageous to me. We're still at 35 billion in liquidation long delta for the last 3 days now. You see this overextend itself for too long, it's going to pull back. So just friendly advice, be very careful longing what feels like the top here. Breakout traders are having a good day, but they could have a very bad day here soon if you're not careful. So once more, friendly advice, if you are taking longs, taking breakout trades, just move your stop loss higher as the price goes higher. That's a simple way to make sure you always walk away in the green, so that way you're not left out in the rain with a red trade that started off so strong. Okay. Anyways. We know this already, but just kind of reiterating, open interest, 88,000. There's that heavy concentration of volume there. A lot of folks are averaged in at that position. That's one of our long positions too that we took profit on. I would say that we're, if the price pulls back, that's a very safe place to recognize, or to consider dollar cost averaging or taking some longs. That's ultimately where I want to get in if that even comes to pass. We may not see that at all. So daily time frame, we see some pretty significant overextensions here. We look at TD sequential, we're getting up there. We've been moving about 7 days in a row in the same direction without retrace. So oftentimes you will see the price action pull back or once we hit like 9 or 10 days in a row. So we've continued without correction for at least a full week now at this point, which is excellent and fantastic. Just know we're coming up to some resistance here. RSI at 70. That's reflectant of, or synonymous, if you will, with our point of control, our macro point of control here at about the 97,000 mark. So you'll see that listed here. As you can see, tremendous amount of volume just above the price action. We're going to have to start seeing some slowing pressure soon. I'd be very, very surprised if the price goes higher. It would require a lot of volume. And to see that on a Friday or a weekend would be very uncommon or uncharacteristic of Bitcoin as of late. When we take a look at the 4-hour time frame, we can recognize here as well that we are in a position where we're above all moving averages. Generally speaking, not advantageous to consider a short just yet. But once more, mass overextensions on almost every single time frame, it seems sensible the price is going to have to pull back soon. But money flow index is coming down, which is interesting. When the money flow index is below the RSI, it generally implies these are false breakouts. So I would be careful in taking a long at this point. The only reason why this isn't false is because we have a significant amount of volume that just flowed in roughly less than 4 hours ago. We also got a MACD convergence here that's working on converging, stochastic swinging up. So there's a lot of reasons why we may see a continuation, because we have this bullish flag pattern breakout, but more importantly, it's very synonymous in a lot of ways. We've seen this happen a lot with bullish rectangle patterns that break out to the upside. Okay, we saw the same thing here in this range previously when we were in like the 85 to 82K range, and the same thing happened. So that's roughly where we're at. Now we're going to keep going parabolic? Probably not, but once more, I've been wrong lately here based on the simple fact that Bitcoin keeps wanting to go up and altcoins too, and majority of them are due to correct themselves, but they haven't yet. So, you take that how you will, honestly. Me personally, I'm okay with sitting on the sidelines. I don't feel like I'm missing out at all, mainly because I was able to average into Dogwoof Hat, SUI, Solana, XRP, pretty heavy at their local supports. So once more, that's why you add to your spot on the side and you feel good about that longer term investment versus, FOMOing into a bunch of leverage trades that could go wrong. Right now, it's honestly it's a flip of a coin as to where the price goes right now, because all the analysis tells us it's going to pull back. But based on either fundamentals or just people being euphoric and buying a bunch of Bitcoin, that's pretty much the case too, So it's really hard to kind of judge that. Either way, that's where we're at there. What are your thoughts? Where do you think it's going to go next? Why don't you comment below? Some people were saying yesterday 100,000 first before we see 90K, and that actually seems almost sensible at this point. To come up to 97, 100,000, reject, and then maybe pull back down to this, 88 to 90K range. That's a possibility too at this point. We'll see here soon. Between now and then, just know today's a Friday. Every time we've seen, okay, not every time, but statistically it's like an 80, 90% probability. When we see a green day on a Friday, it's followed by a red weekend, okay? And this has been a very significantly green week. So I think profits are going to be taken this weekend. That's just my thoughts. I hope you have a good rest of your day, though. Thanks so much again for your time. I'll clean up the charts, post them on our Twitter, Telegram, and Discord. It's all available here for you. Check it out if you'd like. I look forward to seeing the next one. Have a good one. Bye-bye.